Hello, hello. Excited to start round one of MCP March Madness. This month, all through March, we are going to celebrate the incredible protocol by Anthropic, MCP, Model Context Protocol. And in doing so, we're going to put head-to-head some incredible API-driven companies and see how well AI can access their platforms. As a quick recap, which you can read all about the tournament here on our blog, we are going to leverage these companies' OpenAPI specs that describe their APIs and leverage a tool that we've written to convert those API specs into full-fledged MCP servers, converting those into servlets that run on the MCP.run platform. And we're going to take those servlets and we're going to run them inside of our tasks product, which you can think of as kind of like a serverless prompts platform. You upload a prompt and you attach some tools in the form of a profile containing the servlets you want to associate with that prompt. And then running that prompt on our platform through a variety of triggers will just demonstrate our kind of manual prompt executor. We'll intelligently stitch together the tools and process the right calls, extract the right parameters, both from the responses of the API calls and as the inputs to the various tool call to execute. And we'll see and compare the outcomes of the variety of different platforms that we're going to use. So today, round one, we are launching a Supabase versus Neon competition. For those who aren't aware, Supabase and Neon are both incredible Postgres kind of backend as a service platforms with lots of incredible features, and they're really pushing the needle on AI interactivity and agent access. So we're going to see how well agents can use their APIs, again, through an MCP server. And just for reference, we've used these two different API specs that they provide. Haven't done anything else. We're trying to put our hand on the scale here and leverage just kind of the built-in and exposed functionality through their platform APIs. Let's get started. So first is kind of a quick overview of tasks. Tasks, we're going to create basically this prompt, and the prompt is going to tell the model exactly how it should be interpreted and which tools it should call based on the model's tool calling capabilities. We're going to create this one, and the goal of this particular round is to use a database provider to create a database schema for a newsletter kind of operating system. I want to be able to publish a bunch of different newsletters and maintain those newsletters, maintain the subscribers to those newsletters, and ultimately have a back-end system that can just track and model different newsletters with a variety of topics and manage the subscribers to those. So we're going to call this a database for newsletter OS, just a fictional system we'll create. I've ahead of time installed the Supabase MCP client into this profile. You can see how profiles are managed if you log into MCP.run. And I'm going to copy this existing prompt that we created to quickly go over it. I'm defining some prereqs. I want to make sure there's a database or project used inside my account. I want to call it newsletter OS. And then I want you to create the tables necessary to act as the primary transactional database for this newsletter management system. Publishers can manage the creation of newsletters and the subscribers of each newsletter. And then I expect to be able to work with these tables: the publisher, subscribers, newsletters, subscriptions that map new subscribers to newsletters, newsletter releases that are the contents of the newsletters, and the activity, just things that happen. A publisher maybe creates a new subscriber, a newsletter, etc. And I'm telling it to execute the necessary queries to set up the database with this schema. So you can envision this being a very helpful task to basically create and kickstart a database to, again, manage the things inside of a theoretical application. Let's copy this into the prompt editor here. And we're going to run the Supabase demo first and see how Supabase does with this particular task. I'm going to run it first with Claude Sonnet 3.5, and you can see that we also support OpenAPI a variety of different models in both of these. And we'll create this task. And you can see here, we can revise this. We'll change this in a moment. And we also have a bunch of different ways to trigger these tasks, which isn't important for this particular round, but for those interested, we could generate a signed URL to act as a webhook kind of inlet here, or to trigger it from like a microservice in your cloud. And then also a schedule if we wanted to say, let's execute this on an interval, so that every 5 minutes or whatever, we could execute this task again. Back to the instructions. We're going to just click the Run Task button. And before we do, I just want to show that we are connected to a Supabase account with nothing in it. There's no organization of projects, certainly no tables, and we will see the task create all of that for us. Fingers crossed. So let's run it and see what happens. Just kind of sit here patiently. We do have a little bit of a debug log output that I'll show, and just kind of track it, see what happens. It understands the task. It's going to see if we have any projects to use. It realizes it does not have a project, so it's going to create one. It executes that, confirms it's done. It realized it used the tool wrong and is going to retry, which is pretty awesome. Looks like it created the project with this ID. And now it's going to execute the SQL, generate the SQL in order to create the migration to set up the database. So it's generated all the SQL, and it's now going to run a query called Supabase run a query through their API and set up those tables. And it appears to be done, taking just about a minute. Let's go confirm. Sure enough, we now have an organization here called Newsletter OS. And let's see the database. Yes, there it is, folks. We have our set up schema to operate this newsletter publishing platform. Very cool. Nice work, Supabase.